Welcome to the Monarch Experience Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Ancona. Here at the Monarch Experience Podcast, we are giving students the platform to be able to voice their opinions about what matters most to them. And today is a beautiful day. It's springtime. And as of recording, we are less than 2 weeks. We are actually right at 2 weeks from opening day of the 2021 baseball season. Opening day is a glorious day. I measure my son's height to see how much he's grown since the last year. I shaved the beard on opening day. Last time we did this episode, we had 3 awesome baseball fans. Things got heated because, if I remember correctly, Spencer, shout out to Spencer, was a very passionate Mets fan. So we've got a Mets fan here, Jeremy, that we will introduce in a second. And maybe Mason will jump through the screen and try to strangle him. I don't know. Who knows what will happen? This is typical Monarch Experience tomfoolery. But last time we did this, it was the last time that we had actually ever recorded a podcast for this podcast in person. We were situated in the room. We had our mics set up. We were actually like breathing in the same air. I say that now, and that sounds absolutely repulsive to even say that out loud. But I posted a picture on Snapchat. It's crazy to even think that was the last episode before the baseball season started. And obviously, we were totally wrong with everything because we predicted a full season. We did not think things would get shut down. But we definitely at some point should be revising or kind of coming back to our picks. But before we do that, back for his second baseball season in a row. Mason, you're not a stranger. Say something to our audience.
What's up?
I love a good question. Jeremy is our resident Mets fan. Jeremy, say hello to our audience.
What's up, guys?
Mason, I feel like we should start this by at least do you remember your World Series picks from last year?
Yeah, I think it was the same as this year, Dodgers and Yankees.
You gave it away. Now no one's going to want to listen all the way to the end. Shut off the episode. Don't listen anymore. Mason told you his picks. Go outside and frolic in the woods. Yeah, Mason.
A slightly different one for this. Like, I have a slightly different one this year.
Don't give it nice. Good teaser for people to hang around for the whole time. Yeah, man, mine was the same thing. Mine was Dodgers, Yankees, which obviously I got one of them right. And I had said the key to the Yankees season was LeMahieu. And considering he had a huge year, I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong because they didn't go to the World Series. So he really wasn't the key. But we'll talk about who we think the keys to our Mets and Yankee seasons are in a little bit. Before we get to any of that, our getting to know you question is going to be more of we're just going to go baseball nerd here. We're going to really embrace the fact that the only people listening to this episode are really going to be either people who are diehard fans. Thank you for listening. Maybe you'll learn something about baseball. But really, it's going to be people who are in love with the sport of baseball like the 3 of us are. So there are streaks, obviously, in any sport that will never be broken. But I want to focus on 2 specific streaks. Which of the 2 streaks do you think is less likely to be broken? Do you think it will be Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive game streak in which he played over 16 years straight, no off days, 2,632 games? So in order for someone to break that, let's kind of put that in context. They would have to play, and if you're thinking how many players actually play 162 games, there's not many. They would have to play 2,633 games over a course of 16 years. So they have to really have some longevity. Or do you think Johnny Vandermeer, this guy was a pitcher in his rookie year, 1938, June 11th and June 15th, he had consecutive no-hitters pitched. Consecutive no-hitters pitched in his rookie year. Forget about the rookie year part. Consecutive. He pitched a no-hitter. They were like, Mr. Vandermeer, what are you aiming for your next start? Where do you go from here? He's like, get some outs. I don't know why I make him have such a high voice, but I don't know. Get some outs. And then the next game, he pitches a no-hitter. In order to break that record, you'd have to go 3 no-hitters consecutively. Jeremy, what say you? Which one is least likely to ever be broken? Cal Ripken streak or Johnny Vandermeer?
So I actually think the least likely to happen is Cal Ripken's streak because, as you said, 16 years in a row playing 162 games. Players aren't built like that anymore. There's the more common players like Aaron Judge who play 80 games in a year. They excel in those 80 games, but they're hurt a lot. They're not able to stay on the field consistently. And while Vander Meer's streak is extremely hard to overcome and beat, I feel like as baseball evolves, there will be more pitchers that have nasty stuff. And I feel like eventually, maybe not in the next 15, 20 years, but maybe in the next century or two, it might happen.
Yeah, man. I actually am going to agree with you just because while Vandermeer's is like this crazy, just like this crazy stat, and I don't want to say luck plays into it. I was looking a little bit into it, and he kind of had some like crazy innings where they got like walk bases loaded. Things could have gone wrong. I think there's a little bit of an element of luck to make something like that happen. But man, like I agree with you. Just baseball players are not built to play 162 games any year, let alone 16 straight. So, Jeremy, I'm with you. Mason, where are you on this?
I think Johnny Vandermeer's is definitely a very crazy record that probably won't get beat for a while. But I'm going to have to agree with you guys with Cal Ripken Jr.'s record just because 16 years is a very long time. And players, I feel now, like Jeremy said, they're mostly power hitters that get hurt a lot. And I don't know, 16 years with every single game, no off days, is just crazy.
Yeah, plus guys tend to get like rest days just to get, or even if they're not beat up. A lot of times you'll see managers, like with analytics and everything, you'll see a lot of managers sit a guy. And like the guy may be fresh, but it's like, yeah, but I got to keep you fresh down the stretch. Especially like teams that maybe locked up a playoff berth or they already have the division in September. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Cal Ripken did, not to like poo-poo on it, but he did start games and play an inning and then get pulled. So there is some like tinkering, but I just don't think anyone's going to even get close where you would want to start tinkering with that. Fun thing about Vandermeer, he did nothing of note after that in his career. Guy had, I think, like a sub 500 record. Nobody knows him. He's literally just like a stat. I don't get it. Baseball is always trying to get fans that aren't baseball fans by tinkering the rules to cater towards non-baseball fans, which I don't understand why you want to alienate fans who like a slow game or like the pace of baseball. I like baseball for the pacing of it, but they're trying to speed things up. The big one that I saw that they are trying to implement in the minor leagues is they're trying to basically get rid of the shift. What do you guys think of this? Basically, the rule is going to be that infielders have to have 2 feet on the dirt at all times, no matter where they play. And you're just trying to keep your infielders playing infield. Jeremy, what do you think? You like it?
I personally like this idea. I feel like the shift is kind of ruining baseball. Even if we modify the shift, it still helps the game get more popular. Even with baseball fans, they might come back to the game after not liking some of the rules. They might have left it. So an example of how this could potentially be hurting the game is, let's say someone like Joey Gallo steps up to the plate. Joey Gallo is a big lefty pull hitter. He's not really known for hitting singles. He's known for hitting the ball over the fence or pulling the ball to the right side of the infield. So he's playing the Astros. Carlos Correa, who's the shortstop of the Astros, is playing shallow right field. That's not really supposed to happen. Then Alex Bregman is playing up the middle, right on the grass. And then Jose Altuve is playing right field. Jose Altuve is the second baseman, and then Alex Bregman is the third baseman. This makes Joey Gallo forced to try to pull the ball, which he's not known for doing. And even, you might just say, just bunt the ball, Joey Gallo. He's not known for bunting. Nobody wants to watch a game where Joey Gallo steps up to the plate 4 times and bunts the ball 4 times.
And you don't have Joey Gallo on your team to bunt the ball.
You have him on your team to hit the ball over the fence.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you draft him in fantasy baseball, like round 19, where you pick him up on the waiver wire, and he bats like 190, but hits like 45 bombs. Dude, I agree with everything you said. I don't hate the shift, but I hate the argument of, why can't they just bunt? Well, it's because that's not their skill. Why don't you just bunt? Like, it's not that easy. Mason, what are your thoughts?
Well, bunting like off of a pitcher nowadays is definitely not the easiest thing because they can fool you with like an off-speed pitch, and 9 times out of 10, the bunt could definitely go out of like past the foul line, and it would just be a foul ball. So personally, like I don't like the 2 feet on the dirt rule because the shift is like a very important part of baseball. It's strategy. It's part of baseball.
Do you guys think the shift created or helped create launch angle?
I don't think it necessarily was the reason launch angle happened, but it definitely forces players. Like we'll go back to Joey Gallo. It forces him to swing up on the ball every single time he steps up to the plate because he can't just hit a ground ball because then like Correa or Altuve it'll go right to them. So it forces them to have more of a launch angle.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking like, man, when the shift started, or not when the shift started, but when the shift really became like a part of baseball, like Mason, like you were saying, I feel like that was kind of where within a year or two, launch angle started coming into play almost as like a way to counter like, well, if defenses are going to do this, if they're going to go the Joe Madden route, then, we got to figure out a way to beat it. And maybe we have to start kind of uppercutting this ball a little bit more and teaching guys to swing that way.
So I think the reason why launch angle is such a big thing is because the aspect of fans want to see people hit home runs and not hit like ground balls up the middle. They'd rather see Aaron Judge hit a bomb 400 feet. So like I feel like that's the main reason why launch angle is a thing in the first place.
I wish I could kind of be that person that's like, no, I don't like home runs. I've heard somebody say home runs are the most boring highlight in all of sports. And like, maybe I could kind of, but there's nothing as exciting as you're at the game or you're at home and someone just takes that swing and off the bat, you don't even have to see the camera angle change. You're just like, yeah, to me, that is one of the most exciting plays in baseball. But I will say, I think my feelings about the shift, I kind of like it. And I kind of like it only because I think guys on base and the single up the middle that brings 2 guys home, there's a prolonged excitement about that as opposed to that immediate like guttural, yeah, when someone hits a home run and then it's over. You're just watching the guy stroll around the bases. I think from a fan's perspective, those hits that guys are hustling in the throw right at the plate and then boom. I mean, there's no collisions anymore, but like, is the ball going to beat the guy to the plate? There's a little bit more investment in the play than just boom. Let's see where it lands.
Yeah, I agree with you because I'm not a Yankee fan, but I remember watching Jeter's last last home game against the Orioles.
Yeah.
I remember that bloop single to right field. I remember being like, oh, is this going to be the game? Is this how he's going to end his career? And then I just remember that anticipation of the runner running around and going headfirst into the plate as the tag came down. And that was just a great experience.
I wept. I openly wept when that happened. What an amazing reference, Jeremy. You're the man. All right, so I'm sure either way, whatever they do with the shift, I'm sure teams are going to get ahead of the rule change, and then they're going to have guys move on to when do their feet need to be set? Do their feet need to be set when the pitcher's set, when the ball is delivered? Because if the ball is delivered, can they quickly run and move into position? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of kind of trickeration with that. All right. Jeremy, you just talked about the Yankees and a really iconic Jeter moment, but I know you're a huge Mets fan. I saw the DeGrom jersey. I see the Mets banner behind you. All right, so what are your anticipations? What are your predictions? What is your realistic goal for this Mets season? Because this Mets season feels a little different this offseason.
So the Mets are a really hit or miss team. I feel like they could be ranged anywhere from a division winner that wins 100 games, or they could be a wild card team that finishes right behind the Braves, or they could be the typical Mets and finish in 4th. So
you've seen it enough times, right?
Yeah, I've seen it way too many times. So we have DeGrom, we have Conforto, we have Lindor. But how the Mets, I feel like their X factor is going to be if their second and third pitchers can step up, whether that's going to be Stroman, Carrasco, Taijuan Walker, who we just signed, Noah Syndergaard, who's going to come back in like June. That's where the Mets always hit or miss. That's how the Mets missed the playoffs last year. The Mets had Jacob deGrom, and our two pitcher was Rick Porcello. Rick Porcello won the Cy Young in like 2016, but it's not 2016 anymore. That was 2020. When Rick Porcello is your number 2 pitcher, then Michael Wacha is your 3 guy. You need depth in starting pitching. So that's really where the Mets will win or lose. We know that we have a good offense.
Yeah, man. I agree with that. I want to jump in and just say, like, I think I agree with everything you just said, because DeGrom has probably 30 less wins than he should have, because that team, like every time he pitches, it's basically just only let up 1 run and go 9. And the expectations are like unreal.
Yeah, and then the Mets don't have a good enough bullpen that DeGrom could go 7 scoreless, and then it's 1-zip. We have guys like Edwin Diaz, very inconsistent.
Do you like him?
I'm kind of mixed with Edwin Diaz. I kind of like him because his Ks per 9 is through the roof. He should strike almost anyone out. But I wish he could be our setup guy, and then Lugo. But the problem is Lugo's hurt, and he's going to miss like the first 2-3 weeks of the season. Yeah. So I'm kind of like torn. I wish we got Justin Wilson through free agency, but the Yankees had to take him from us. So we need more arms there. I wish we got Trevor Rosenthal. I wish we got Kirby Yates. But that's just like, I wish we got Liam Hendricks, but that's like unrealistic. But,
yeah, there's never enough arms, especially because, like, you know, you go into the season. It's 100. I mean, last year was totally different. Last year was an anomaly. I almost kind of like don't even look at last year as it counting as far as like basing what this year will look like for the most part. But yeah, dude, like your starting 5 on April 1st is going to look wildly different in August and then in October.
Yeah, that's how the Mets lose every year. It's our pitching gets hurt. So that's why Uncle Stevie had signed guys like Taijuan Walker, and we have pitching depth. But even with the pitching depth, Carlos Carrasco just pulled his hammy. He's not going to be pitching till May. Noah Syndergaard had Tommy John last year. So we're going into the season with Joey Lucchesi, who we traded for in a 3-team trade. I really like that move. Pitching depth. That's what Uncle Stevie's trying to get. He knows. He's been a Met fan his entire life. He knows how the Mets met. And, hey, I remember that 86 team. That team had a lot of pitching depth. The 69 team, that team had a lot of pitching depth. Those are the 2 years we won the World Series. We had pitching depth. I feel like if our pitching depth comes into play, like our pitchers get hurt like they always do. So I feel like that's how we make a run.
Even in 2015, when you guys, you know, fell short, like even in 2015, you guys had good pitching depth. I feel like compared to
we had DeGrom in his second year, who pitched fantastically after his rookie of the year. We had Syndergaard, who was supposed to be like the next big thing, and he still is.
He was Thor.
Yeah, we had Matt Harvey, who kind of fell off since then.
But yeah, I mean, you guys, I agree with you, man. I think that's a huge part for the Mets. You definitely sound so excited, though, about the ownership change, though.
Yeah, it's awesome. The Wilpons did not know what they were doing.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think I like the Mets moves. I don't know if I agree with you that they could win the division to be a 100-win team. I think like a lot would have to go wrong for one of the tougher division or one of the most top-heavy divisions in baseball. I also don't think, and maybe this is my best friend's a Marlins fan, so I hear about the Marlins like too much. Don't discount the Marlins. They're going to be a tough team. I don't think they're going to be. They may finish last, but I don't think they're a bottom feeder like the Pirates are in the NL Central. Mason, Yankee fan, what are your expectations as a Yankee fan? Is it 100-win season, World Series, or bust?
I mean, it could be, but what I've been thinking about is if they're able to stay healthy and injuries don't stunt their strength, I definitely think they could be a World Series contender and have a great season. That's basically what my expectations are for them.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, man, I really feel like I'm getting to a point where I'm going to enjoy a World Series win, but it almost is going to feel like they've been since 2017, and they peaked a year early, so it was really supposed to be 2018. But for the last 3 years, it's just felt like, man, we can't get there. We can't get past the Astros or the Red Sox in, 2018 or 2019, were like a buzzsaw team that we just had no chance against. It just feels like, I feel like we're almost like the Knicks or the Pistons from the 90s, where it's like we just can't get past the Bulls. And every year we seem to have a different Bulls team that is just, man, they're just better than us. I'm going to enjoy that World Series win if it happens. But I feel like, as Yankee fans, we're always like, the next dynasty. Oh, this team should be able to win 5 World Series, or this one should be able to be like the 90s and win 4. I almost feel like the first one is going to be like a sigh of relief. Like, oh, we got the core. We got Judge and Sanchez, Severino. Like, we got Glaber. We got him a ring. Now let's build the dynasty.
Well, I mean, it does help that, Verlander is now out. So hopefully they have a better chance against the Astros. Then again, I am looking forward to this team getting, these players on the team getting their first ring, because I feel like once they get their first ring, it'll look good for them, in the future, because they're definitely a very strong team.
Yeah, and because, dude, we want, as Yankee fans, and I know, Jeremy is a Mets fan too, but Yankees maybe go a little too extreme because they retire everyone's number. Where if a guy played 4 years and had one signature moment, they're like, Carlos Beltran is a Yankee. It's like, nah, let's not go that far. He had that one walk-off in the rain again in August. But I think I really want to beat the Astros to get to the World Series. At this point, I want the Astros to be good. I want them to be they are our nemesis right now. I want to be able to exercise those demons, beat them, and then go to the World Series and storybook ending. Jeremy, go ahead.
So yeah, I feel like this is the year that the Yankees have the best chance to win the World Series, or at least make the World Series. They're in a kind of weak American League. They have the Rays, who just traded away Blake Snell. They got worse.
They got way worse.
They let Charlie Morton walk. They got worse. The Blue Jays, they're going to be on the rise. Are they there yet? No, they don't have the pitching. But then they still have young guys like Austin Martin, who they already have a shortstop in Bo Bichette. So they have guys like Austin Martin. Who knows where they'll go? And then there's also the Twins. They could beat the Twins. It's been shown again and again and again.
If we face the Twins, dude, I swear there is no worry at all if the Yankees face the Twins. And if the Yankees were playing with only 7 men on the field, I would still feel confident that we could beat the Twins. The Didi Grand Slam erased any doubt in my mind that the Twins will ever in my lifetime be a threat to the Yankees. I'm sorry, Mr. Fine. I know you're a Twins fan.
If it's even a question that the Yankees have to go up against the Twins, and it's a question who's going to win, then they're definitely not a World Series team.
Jeremy, I agree with everything you're saying, man. The division has gotten weaker. I think the Yankees, while they haven't gotten stronger, they're the only team on paper that has gotten less weak.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Also, the Astros, they lost George Springer. Framber Valdez got hurt. They're without Verlander. Greinke's getting older. And then the A's, they got worse. They lost Liam Hendricks. Matt Chapman's on the trade block, allegedly. So they're looking to move him out of town. And then the only other team that I think could really compete with you guys is the White Sox. But the White Sox, I don't like their managerial hire that much. So I think you guys still have the edge on the White Sox. So I guess time will tell. And if Judge can stay healthy for a full 162-game season, and let's say he plays 150, 155, I think you guys will be serious threats.
I think give us 145. And I think Judge can be MVP 2017 and just be electric again. But, I mean, I'm excited. I have really high hopes. I'm a Stanton believer now after what he did in the postseason. That was 2017 Marlin, the way he was hitting the ball out of the park. That was nuts. And most Yankee fans are kind of critical of Stanton. So I think that, but I think a big key to the Yankee season, I'm not going to say LeMahieu. I love him. I am so thrilled that he's back. I am also thrilled if our podcast listeners are keep track with all of my Yankee fandom. I am thrilled that my favorite Yankee, Brett Gardner, is back because I think he's great for the locker room, great defensively, great on the base paths, and we share a great birthday, August 24th. So I obviously love Brett Gardner and everything he brings as a baseball player. But I think the key, I think Severino is important. I think if we can get anything out of Severino down the stretch that's productive, coming off of Tommy John, that's huge. But I think the biggest key is going to be Gleyber at short. Can Gleyber show that he is actually a shortstop, or is he really a modified second baseman that belongs playing second base? Because I think that could change a lot of ways that they go next season. And honestly, I think that could change like a lot of the shuffling of the infield then. So I think since we're talking about Yankees, I think it makes sense. Let's stay in the AL East. I'm picking the Yankees as the clear runaway winner. I think the Rays likely will be your wild card team from there. I think the wild card will come out of the AL East, and the Rays will be. I hate the Rays. I really dislike them. I never hated them, but last year I thought they were too showy. I thought like they took down the big bad Yankees. We're really not that big or bad because we haven't won a World Series, so you're not like taking us down. We haven't accomplished anything. I just thought like the chest beat. I'm all for celebrations. They came across like punks. And yeah, I'm a little bitter that they beat us in the playoffs. But still, hate the Rays, hate all their players. I hope they enjoyed Tampa Bay playing in a stupid dome. Nobody wants to go see baseball indoors. Get out of here. So I'm going Yankees in the AL East. Mason, Yankees are your pick?
Yeah, I'm going with the Yankees. I mean, I don't know. They have great pitching, great hitting, strong defense. Like literally every single one of their players, like I don't know if it's just because I'm a Yankees fan, but I feel like every one of their players is so well known and so good that they're destined to be a World Series team.
Oh, don't say destined. Oh no. Don't say destined. I hope they are destined.
I hope they're destined.
I hope they are destined. Jeremy, AL East?
Yeah, I like the Yankees just as you guys said, but I wouldn't count out the teams like the Rays and the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays they have a great lineup. Pitching, not so much. After Ryu, it kind of falls off a cliff.
Yeah, and Ryu, that's not really a high cliff to start with.
Yeah. And then the Rays, they still have the AL Manager of the Year. He might have made one of the most idiotic decisions I've seen recently, taking out Blake Snell in the World Series. But the Rays were in the World Series. They've proven they could do it, and they won 2 games with their offense being Randy Arozarena. That was their entire offense. So they've proven that they
that kid was nuts.
Play. And Kevin Cash, he plays the matchups. He has guys like Yandy Diaz and G-Man Choi playing first that switch off depending on the pitcher on the mound. He plays the matchups, and he's not afraid to make risky decisions, and even decisions that don't work so well, like the Snell decision.
And I think the only other thing I'll say about the Yankees too, Kluber, I think if you get anything out of Kluber that's productive, that is huge because you signed him on a flyer basically. He's years removed from being a Cy Young winner. So I think a lot of times like age factoring in with injuries, that's kind of where a guy a lot of times like just completely breaks down. But you never know. He could end up like Verlander.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Even if Kluber doesn't pitch as much as you guys think he might, he could be like a role model to guys like Davey Garcia, Michael King. Have young guys there. And same thing with Brett Gardner. I really like that Brett Gardner signing. Not that much money. And he could teach young guys. Clint Frazier, who's going to take over for him. Even if Brett Gardner is going to play and start maybe like 30, 40 games, I still really like that signing.
Yeah, me too. For selfish, obviously biased reasons. What about the AL Central? AL Central, I'm going with Chicago White Sox. I just think they are one of those. They were the up-and-coming team, I think, last year and the year before. They were really kind of starting to put it together. I think that division is theirs, where they can, almost like the Yankees in 2017, they can kind of peak early and maybe be the division winner. Jeremy, what do you think? You like the White Sox or no?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I feel like the White Sox are one of the most complete teams in the league. I love the young guys that they have, like Louis Robert and Nick Madrigal. I love their bullpen. They have Liam Hendricks. I love that signing. Cody Hoyer, Garrett Crochet, who's like 23 years old and throws 101, 102, and Aaron
Damn.
Gardner. I feel like they're all super. They have amazing stuff. And then there's so much excitement around that franchise. Tim Anderson.
Yeah, Tim Anderson. He's dangerous on the base paths.
Yeah, you guys like TA. Eloy Jimenez. I don't know why I forgot his name, but and then just the only thing that I feel like would hold them back necessarily is obviously injuries, but also their manager, Tony La Russa. He's like 7 years old with a team.
Why'd they go after him?
Yeah, I don't really understand that. Like, I feel like they should have went after maybe a younger manager, like without a doubt. You guys like Tim Anderson, who need like the White Sox and the Padres. I feel like those are the two teams that are going in the new generation for baseball, and having a Tony La Russa type manager who has the old gen really isn't going to help your team.
Yeah, man, I think it takes a step back. I mean, I think there's something to be said about, kind of teaching a young team how to win and maybe needing that kind of like steady guiding force of like, hey, every day we're going to go in, we're going to see Tony La Russa, and he's been there. He's won before. Like, he knows a thing or two. But it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels like you're taking a step back at the same time that you're trying to take a step forward. And who knows? Maybe it'll work. Mason, what are your thoughts? AL Central, who do you think is going to win?
I agree with the Chicago White Sox. I mean, the only thing that I have to add was I really like their lineup and their offense, especially if Yoan Moncada, if he returns, because I think he had COVID last season, and he would give the offense and the defense a big boost.
Totally. Let's move on to the AL West. Who do you guys think is going to win the AL West this year?
So my pick is the Astros. I feel like they're definitely the best team in that division still. They proved in 2020 that they really didn't need a cheat to have a good lineup.
Or they didn't get caught.
Yeah. But I don't think they cheated this year. I feel like maybe they cheated because they realized that, hey, they don't have a punishment if they cheat. Nothing happened. Correa didn't get suspended. Altuve didn't get suspended. The only guys were their GM and their manager.
Yeah.
Players who probably came up with the idea.
Basically, they're the one that executed it.
Right. They're the ones that were executing it. So they're like, let's just do it again. We'll get everyone else fired.
Yeah, but assuming that they didn't have, that they didn't cheat, they proved that their lineup doesn't need it. Correa had a pretty solid season. Altuve struggled severely, but you know what? He might transition and get ready. Like, he might have a better year. I think that's what definitely is going to happen. Especially with, you know what? I feel like he's going to be used to the criticism a little bit more and just get ready to go. Also, the Astros have young pitching. They have Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, assuming that he's not hurt the entire year. Same with Forrest Whitley, assuming that he doesn't need TJ, which is Tommy John. Also, Yordan Alvarez is back. That's the 2019 AL Rookie of the Year. People forget.
I like him. I like him a lot.
I think Yordan is insanely underrated. I haven't heard his name in like a few months.
He really is underrated. I think he kind of might be poised to be the best player on that team, especially if Altuve isn't Altuve of 2016, 17, 18. The only thing that, I mean, they're pitching, it's young, but they don't have that stopper 1-2 with Cole and Verlander. That I think that when they start, if they really are going to try to make a deep push, I think that could be a big problem for them as they move down. But yeah, I agree. I think the Houston Astros are going to win the division, but I also think that they could be a buy or sell team at the trade deadline, which is crazy to think that the division winner I'm predicting might sell off all their assets and players to do a reload with a lot of guys coming up on contract years. Mason, who do you think is going to win the AL West?
I also have the Astros, and I feel like they still made it into the playoffs in 2020, even with injuries and having to put like new faces into the bullpen and into the lineup. And I feel like they have extremely powerful lineup with Bregman, Correa, Altuve, and even Yuli Gurriel. And like Jeremy said, Yordan Alvarez is back. And I mean, even though they lost Verlander and they lost Garrett Cole, which were their two like stars, they still have Greinke and young guys like Jeremy said, like Christian Javier and Jose Urquidy.
Yeah, so now let's move over to the NL. NL East we'll start with. Jeremy, your Mets division. Are you going to go bold? Are you going to say the Mets are going to win the division?
I want to go with the Mets, but I don't think I'm able to. I love the Atlanta Braves roster. I feel like they're built great everywhere. They have star power, Ronald Acuna Jr. They have young assets in their pitching and in their lineup. They have guys even like Austin Riley. I think Austin Riley is a breakout year candidate. I feel like he's going into his third year. He's struggled a little, but he's shown in his advanced metrics that he could be a guy that breaks out. They have Mike Soroka, who like tore his Achilles or something. Assuming that he comes back, he was an amazing pitcher before that happened. Max Fried, I think, had the best ERA in the National League last year. Ian Anderson, who was a rookie last year, but was super dominant. And even guys like Charlie Morton. I love that Charlie Morton signing. I feel like that was one of the best signings of the offseason because low signing, 1 year, low risk, and even with such a young starting pitcher like roster, I feel like it's just such a great idea to get a veteran piece in there who has playoff experience. Charlie Morton was pitching with the last out of the 2017 World Series on the Astros. And yeah, like the Braves are just so good everywhere. Like their lineup, as I said, Freddie Freeman, even the NL MVP is on that team.
Freddie Freeman is like the most underrated, well-appreciated player. Like, I don't know how someone could be underrated, but also really appreciated and like his greatness is understood. Or maybe that's just my perspective. Because I avoid him every year in fantasy baseball. Like there's something wrong with picking Freddie Freeman, a guy who's got like an OPS of like 950 every year and bats 300. But there's just something, I don't know. There's just nothing. He's just such a good first baseman. Jeremy, what is it about my take on Freddie Freeman? Like, is he not a sexy pick for fantasy baseball? Why do I feel this way?
I definitely agree with that because I'll admit I'm a culprit. I drafted Freddie Freeman last year and I traded him away. I'll admit it. So I've been there, and you know what? It came back to bite me. So it hurt me. But I feel like it's just that the first base position is normally so deep. There's guys like Jose Abreu, Matt Olson, Jose Abreu was the AL rookie, rookie, MVP. And even guys like Matt Olson had a rough year. And then the Mets have two good first baseman candidates, Pete Alonso, Tom Smith. There's just so many first basemen that you could have in that hit home runs opposed to, let's say, a second baseman. I feel like you'd rather take DJ LeMahieu, where it's after DJ, it's like Jose Altuve, and then you have like Jeff McNeil, and then Keston Hiura, and then like it kind of is like
the drop off is pretty quick. I mean, because dude, you could get Luke. I mean, we're talking fantasy baseball, but like Luke Voit is a really strong option at first base, and you could get him way later on down the line if you're doing like a standard fantasy baseball draft. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just so deep. So and I hate when this happens. I hate when my fantasy baseball or fantasy football knowledge and conversation infiltrates with the actual conversation about the real sport, because those are two very different things. I can undervalue or think Freddie Freeman's overrated and I don't need him in fantasy, but in real life, he's a stud on that team, and he is like the key that keeps that lineup together. Mason, what do you think? Where are you going, NL East?
Well, I actually agree with the Freddie Freeman thing, because I feel like if you don't like bring up his name, he's kind of overlooked. But once you say his name, you appreciate him a lot more.
He's like just like a steady baseball player, which is like the key to like a Hall of Fame career. Is just be a steady baseball player.
Yeah, because if you like, I don't know, because I always forget about him until someone brings up his name.
You know that he's going to hit out 35 home runs in a full season. You know he's going to stay healthy. You know he's going to play good defense at first. You know he's going to hit around 300. You know he's going to drive in a bunch of RBIs. You know what you're getting out of him. So that's how I think he's kind of overlooked. Like players like Cody Bellinger. You don't know if Cody Bellinger is going to hit 50 home runs in a year or if he's going to hit 10 and slump for the year. That's the thing against like Cody Bellinger from Freddie Freeman. That's just like the difference between them.
That's a good comparison with Bellinger, and we'll jump to the NL West actually, since we're talking about the Dodgers. I think like with Bellinger, I think he's also a bigger personality. And I wonder if that plays a bigger. I mean, he also plays in Los Angeles, right? So I wonder if that plays a bigger factor. Jeremy, who you picking in the NL West?
So the NL West, it's pretty obvious. I think the Dodgers win that division. I think the Padres will be there one day, but that one day is not this year.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
Dodgers, their rotation's insane. They have Bauer, Kershaw, Buehler, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Julio Urias. They have so many guys, and they could do so many things with their pitchers, and they have young guys too that pitch.
Yeah,
they also have tons of star power. Like you don't see an outfield that is Mookie Betts in right and Cody Bellinger in center, and say, "Hey, yeah, they're not going to win more than 50 games."
The Dodgers are like that team that they can come back. They haven't lost anybody. They are getting better in certain positions. You know, you don't know if Kershaw, how much of the decline is going to happen now year to year. But I think, you know, if they could keep him healthy, limit his starts probably. You know, his back is going to go out at some point. It does every year, the last like 5 years. But they're a dangerous team. Mason, are you picking? I'm picking the Dodgers for the division. I agree. Padres are really good. Padres will give them a run for their money, but I think that the Dodgers are just a well-oiled machine. Mason, what do you think?
So I really want to say the Padres because of Fernando Tatis Jr., Yu Darvish, and Blake Snell, because I really like all those players. But I feel like I have to take the Dodgers because, like Jeremy says, they have a great rotation with Clayton Kershaw, Bauer, Urias, and even David Price. And, I mean, they have stars like Mookie, Bellinger, and then they have great hitters like Justin Turner, Corey Seager, and even Max Muncy.
Yeah, when Max Muncy is kind of like a guy that becomes like a depth player or kind of like, Max Muncy, that's the mark of a team that just there are no holes in that lineup at all.
Like Max Muncy is like if he's not the best player on the team, that's a good sign.
Max Muncy would be the best player on the Pirates and Orioles, which is insane.
Yeah.
Max Muncy is like their seventh best player.
Yeah, seriously. All right, I'm definitely going Dodgers as well in the division. And then our last division, maybe the most
controversial.
Meh. Yeah, probably. This is the only one I think that we all went in different places. We all were like picking the same teams. I also think this is like the most meh division there. Like 83 wins might be the division winner. And then every other team might only have 81 wins. So it doesn't feel like there's a big drop. The Pirates are terrible, but outside of that, I feel like you could easily persuade me that any team in there could win. But I'm going to go Cardinals. I just think
I agree.
They're the safer bet.
I'm taking Cardinals just because I really like Jack Flaherty, and they have other decent young arms. And they just got Arenado, who gives a huge boost on offense and on defense.
I forgot about Arenado. Yeah. That's a big move. That kind of makes me feel a little bit better about going Cardinals and not picking the Reds. I like Castillo. I kind of was hoping the Yankees would trade for him in the offseason. And then Sonny Gray, I hated him as a Yankee, but he is just so good in a small market, on a small market team. But I just don't think that the Reds have enough. The Reds, I'm always like enamored by the Reds. Jesse Winkler. Jesse Winkler. Like there's guys on the Reds. I just feel like they've always been like a power pitching and just like power team where they've got these guys that could, hit some dingers. Jeremy, who you picking?
So I'm actually going to go with a little bit of a controversial pick, like a hot take. I like the Brewers this year.
Hot take, the Brewers. All because of Yelich?
Yeah, I'm a big Yelly person. I think Yelly is one of the best players in baseball, without a doubt. I feel like his year last year was 100% a fluke. I think he's going to be back to his MVP form. And there's
nothing that happened last year counts.
Yeah,
the Dodgers won the World Series, but any guys who had bad years that are studs,
it's not a normal year.
It's just not a normal year. Guys that had really great years, I still don't even put too much stock into that. Luke Voigt's not going to lead the AL in home runs hit.
Also, the Brewers have a very underrated starting pitching rotation. They have Brandon Woodruff, who nobody talks about. They have Corbin Burns, who I'm extremely high on, but nobody talks about. He went I picked him up on the waiver wire. He wasn't drafted in my fantasy league. One of my most
Really?
competitive fantasy leagues with 10 teams didn't get drafted.
Wow. And Hader's their closer, right?
Yeah, they have such a good bullpen. They have the
Yeah.
reigning National League Rookie of the Year, Devin Williams, who gave up a single run in 2020, and they have Josh Hader.
How many innings did he pitch?
He pitched like 17.
Okay.
I don't know the
Yeah,
exact.
I was gonna say maybe like 30 is the top, like because of how last year was. Still an amazing feat, right?
Yeah,
Still
I
an
know.
amazing feat.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of the Brewers, but I think even teams like the Reds, as you went into their pitching, they have such a good pitching core, and they have good veterans. Joey Votto's is still there, and the Cubs are in that division. The Cubs still have Javi Baez. They have Chris Bryant. Even though they lost Yu Darvish, they still have Kyle Hendricks, who I think is another extremely underrated pitcher in the game of baseball. So I feel like it should be a good battle. And even I wouldn't be surprised if even the Pirates win 65, 70 games just because of how weak that division could potentially be.
I think what's going to happen in that division is going to happen is what happened with the NFL NFC East. That the teams are just they're all kind of the same, meaning they're all not great. They're all kind of bad. I think they're all just going to beat up on each other. And then because they're all going to beat up on each other, they're all going to just trade wins. No one's going to be able to kind of really come out. That's going to make for a fun September. Mason.
Because I feel like with this division, there's no one team that's overpowering. And so, like you said, they're going to have to compete with each other. Like, and no one team's going to like have the division in the bag.
Yeah, this will be a fun, September final weekend in September, watching these division games play out because that's when baseball is at its best. Jeremy, what are your thoughts before we move on to our awards and World Series picks?
Yeah, I definitely think that it's going to be a very close battle. I think one of the reasons that I gave the Brewers the edge over the Cardinals, I think it's going to be like 87, 85 wins. Like that's how it's going to go.
All right, let's talk about our MVP predictions, Cy Young predictions, Rookie of the Year predictions. Jeremy.
So for my MVP, I like Juan Soto. I think Juan Soto is amazing. And I also have a little bit of bias because I took him in fantasy. I had the first round pick and the first pick in 2 leagues. I took Juan Soto in both.
Ooh.
So I think he's going to win the MVP. I like for AL MVP, I feel like Judge, if he could stay healthy, I think he wins it. But I think the safest pick is Trout. I like for NL Cy Young, obviously Jacob deGrom, but I wouldn't be surprised if names like Dinelson Lamet, who also another pitcher, not very well known on the Padres, but I'm super high on. I like guys like Corbin Burns, as I said before. I think he could sneak up there and be around there. AL, I think it's going to be Garrett Cole, I think, or guys like Giolito. Giolito proved that he could be a really good pitcher. He threw a no-hitter. Also, Kenta Maeda, he came in third place for their second. It was one of those two for AL Cy Young. Or even Shane Bieber, the AL Cy Young. He won the Triple Crown. There's so many options, like potential options in the AL. And then my Rookie of the Years, I think in the AL is either going to be Jared Kelenic, or as I like to call him, Jared Kellengod. It kind of hurts me as a Met fan because we kind of gave up Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano for him. But I think he's just an amazing player. And the other guy is Wander Franco, who, if both of those guys get called up, I think it's going to be an amazing competition between those two. And in the NL, Ke'Bryan Hayes. Ke'Bryan Hayes is it's like the only star of light on that Pirates team.
Okay, yeah. Wow. So, I mean, hey, we're not talking too much fantasy, but I love when fantasy baseball. I love fantasy baseball. Most people hate fantasy baseball. For all the reasons that I love it. It's because it's every day. It's long. It's a grind. I love fantasy baseball for that reason. So I think if you have not drafted your fantasy baseball team and you're listening, Jeremy is hooking you up with some really good waiver wire guys, some really great like late 19th round, 25th round kind of guys that you can steal, stash, or keep an eye on for as the season goes on and dominate your league, obviously. Mason, MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, if you want to go that deep. I definitely can't make Rookie of the Year picks.
I basically did 2 for each because I couldn't decide. So for the NL, I took Juan Soto because he has like just a great mindset and mentality. He's a very strong hitter, strong fielder, and he's a young player that can perform very well. And then the other guy from the NL is Mookie Betts because now he's in a different atmosphere, and I really like his swing. Plus, he's a great fielder and a hitter. And then the AL, I have either Mike Trout or Aaron Judge. I feel like Jeremy said, Mike Trout is definitely the safer option just because he gets hurt a lot. But if he could stay healthy, and stay away from like slumps, he could definitely be a strong contender.
I don't think the slumps for Judge is as big of a deal as the health. I think if he's hurt, I think if he stays healthy and like we said, plays 140 to 150 games, I think that electricity with Judge is back. And there's nothing like it. Although, Trout is the safest pick for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah,
you can just say Trout, lock it in. Yeah, go ahead, Mason.
And then for my Cy Young predictions, I have to go with Garrett Cole because now that he's in New York, he's automatically going to get more recognition for whatever he does, and he's very talented. And then for the NL, I'll have to say Jacob deGrom because I feel like he's the best in the NL.
Somebody should look into this and let us know on Snapchat at the Monarch Experience Podcast if there's ever been, I think there has to have been maybe once, where the Mets and Yankees both won an MVP or both won a Cy Young.
Oh, that would be cool.
That's a fun. All right, we're going to delve into that. So we'll have people, if you can find that out, I will hook you up with a prize. Cash money sent your way if you can name me the year or when that happened. I'm gonna kind of just piggyback off of a lot of the picks that you made with pretty much all of that. And now the moment of truth. World Series picks. I don't want to know how they get there. I don't want to know caveats or qualifiers. I just want to know who are your World Series picks and who wins. Mason, go ahead.
Well, before we get into World Series picks, I just have one thing to add. So I just got Ryan Mountcastle's rookie card. And so I'm really hoping that he wins Rookie of the Year because, as you know, cards can be worth a lot of money.
Yeah. You could sell that to Phil Hughes now with Phil's Polls.
Yeah.
Today's episode is sponsored by Phil's Polls. Thanks, Phil Hughes. I loved you as a Yankee, especially in 2009. Thank you for your service. Mason, who are your World Series picks, and who do you think is winning it?
So my World Series picks, I feel like the Yankees, hopefully, I feel like they're definitely in it, hopefully. And then my other two teams that I'm debating on are the Braves and the Dodgers. I mean, last year I had the Dodgers and the Yankees, and I really like the Braves, but I think I'm going to stick with the Dodgers.
Okay. You think the Dodgers would beat the Braves, so basically is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yankees, Dodgers.
All right. Yankees, Dodgers. And who wins, Mason? I know this is hard.
I'm going to go with the Yankees.
There you go. Good answer. I'm going Yankees, Dodgers too. I have no shame in going with the boring pick for the second year in a row. I'm going Yankees, Dodgers. And because the Yankees are a contending team, I can't be objective. The only answer I can think or imagine or even want to speak into the universe is the Yankees win. The Yankees. That's it.
So I have a few. I think the Dodgers versus the White Sox is definitely a potential one. I feel like those are two very good lineups. It's a little biased by me, but the Mets versus Yankees, I really hope the Mets can get there and win. Ooh. So I think the NL team would win both of these. And I always like to have a sleeper World Series or whatever sport it is. It normally doesn't go too well because
your White Sox aren't the sleeper?
No, they're not.
Wow. All right.
My sleeper pick never goes well. So if you're a fan of these teams, I'm sorry. So my sleeper pick, I kind of gave away the NL, but my AL pick is the Seattle Mariners. I feel like they have such a young team, and I feel like they're super underrated. And then I my NL pick, I like the Milwaukee Brewers. And I think if those two teams get matched up, I think the Brewers wind up winning the series. But do I think it's going to happen realistically?
If the Brewers and the Mariners make the World Series, that would be
It would be disappointing.
All right. Huge thank you to Jeremy and Mason. Baseball knowledge that Mason and Jeremy share far surpasses the baseball knowledge I think that I've had maybe in my entire life. So seriously, like really well-spoken, really knowledgeable baseball fans. Hopefully this year goes according to plan. And by according to plan, we mean it ends with a Yankees World Series parade. Until next time, enjoy the spring. Make sure you're subscribing or following. Make sure you're following the Monarch Experience podcast so you can stay notified on new episodes as they drop pretty much every other week. If you want to be on an episode, obviously shoot me an email. All ideas are welcome. We just got to format them and figure out a plan to make it have a purpose. And big things are coming down the line. I still can't say anything. I could only tease them. But we've got a big collaboration when it comes to the logo reveal that will be happening later on in the spring. Until then, stay safe, stay hungry, and may your baseball teams all be successful. See ya!